Hey, class. So I wanted to just take another close look at this map. I may be repeating things, but that's okay. I'm a big believer in repetition. So this is the map of Spanish missions. One of the things I want you to note is how many missions there were. I think ultimately I give a number. It was in the 20s, but most of them failed. Um, and if I wanted to drive you crazy, I could make you memorize all the Spanish missions, including the ones that failed. But why would I do that? So the successful ones were especially in San Antonio, Goliad, and then in kind of around the Nacogdoches area. So the big thing is this green kind of blob here. This is how the Spanish saw Texas. They did not see the Texas that we think of today, which you can kind of see on the rest of the map. The Rio Grande, for instance, was not a border in the Spanish in the eyes of the Mexican government. The real southern border of Texas was the Nueces River, from their point of view, from the Spanish point of view, which goes through Corpus Christi. So what I want to get across here is that the shape of Texas that we have today did not exist during the Spanish period. And in fact, when the Spanish looked to their northeast, this is how they viewed Texas, this kind of dark green area. San Antonio, of course, was part of Spanish Texas. But for instance, El Paso was not even close to being part of Spanish Texas. Del Rio, Piedras Negras, the whole lower Rio Grande Valley was not part of Spanish Texas. This is how the Spanish viewed Texas. And the other thing I want to point out on this little brief podcast is this is the San Saba mission, which I'm talking about in a podcast, which the Spanish create, and then it's destroyed by the Comanches who create a Norteño alliance. And notice how far the San Saba mission is outside of how the Spanish viewed Texas. And the big point of this is the Comanche, one of the reasons that Texas doesn't expand north and west from this kind of dark green blob is the Comanche are up here. And the Comanche are far stronger than the Spanish. And so one of the reasons that Spanish Texas is relatively small compared to Texas in 2023 is that to the north and west of the Spanish were the Comanche, and the Comanche were much more powerful than the Spanish. They outnumbered the Spanish, they outgunned, they out ammunitioned or outweaponed, I guess is the word I'm looking for, the Spanish. And so the Comanche suppress the Spanish in Texas. They keep the Spanish from expanding in Texas. And in fact, European settlement in Texas and later in the 1800s, we're talking about especially Anglo-Americans, won't really expand into the Comancheria, this area north and west of San Antonio, ultimately until the 1870s. So I just want you to get in your mind just how powerful the Comanche were, much more powerful than the Spanish, much more powerful than the Mexican government. And really, for the first 50 years that Anglo-Americans controlled Texas, the Comanche were more powerful than the Anglo-Americans too. And they kept Texas from expanding. So take a look at this map. This is Spanish Texas. The Comanches up here. The Comanches are up here. They stop the Spanish from expanding north and west. And as I think I've said a couple of times, we usually think about native groups being defeated by the Europeans or whites, you might say, in the largest sense. But European is probably a better word. The English, the French, the Spanish, etc. But here, the Comanches give the Spanish, the Mexicans, and the Anglo-Americans everything they can handle from the 1720s all the way until the 1870s.